Good morning, everyone. Vloggy Poncho here. Today is Sunday, February 24th, and unfortunately, I won't be bringing you to the promised Pokemon video. That'll have to be next week. Today is going to be a crazy day for me. Anyway, I'm weighing in at 181 pounds, and I'm still on page 66 of Atlas Shrugged. I tried to read some more of it last night, and I had the same problem I had the first time I tried to read it, which was that I was laying in bed and I got about through 2 pages and realized that I was reading the same thing over and over without understanding what it was saying. So I was like, okay, it's time to go to bed, go to sleep now. But there has been goal progress on the juggling front. So the three, gosh, I'm so tired. I got up at 8 a.m. both days this weekend, which is not, it wasn't explicit in the goal, but it's not like I plan to get up at 6 a.m. on the weekends too. It's just not as productive an idea, because in the weekends it's nice to be able to stay up a little bit later, and the dining halls at UGA don't even open until 8:30 on the weekend. So if I got up at 6, I would be sitting around for 2 hours before I could go have breakfast, which I can't do. I always eat right away after I get up, but I haven't eaten today yet. That'll be the next thing I do after this. But basically, the 3-ball Cascade is this juggling pattern that I've become very familiar with, fairly comfortable with. It's gotten to the point now where I can basically do this as long as I want. But now I can do, or I'm learning to do, this one-handed fountain, which basically is you just toss one ball up in the center and then toss the second one after it. Oh, yeah. So the way it's supposed to look is you get this sort of pattern where the ball goes up on the inside and down on the outside. Something like this. And then, hopefully, what I would like to show you guys is that I'm trying to get to the point where I can just go from one to the other. Like, do the 3-ball Cascade, then switch to one-handed, and then, try and go back. So that's the kind of where I am right now in terms of my juggling ability, but it's hard to do the two consistently at the same time, and it's hard to switch between them without having a really awkward throw. Yeah, so the 3-ball Cascade gets a little bit wild after I start trying to do there we go, the one-handed one. Oh. And the one-handed one has a huge proclivity towards the balls hitting each other in the air. Because what you'd want to try to do is just throw one up and then throw up another. But that, you're always going to hit. So you have to sort of angle it to the outside and then bring in the other one to the inside and throw in the same arc each time, basically, is what you want. So yeah, you guys saw in yesterday's episode that we had some additions to the juggling ball family here. I perfected the technique of making these things, or rather, the other balls have perfected their technique. So it didn't take nearly as long as the first 3 did. Not just because there's fewer of them either. That's my biggest thing right now, is that I can pretty much keep going until I have 2 balls hit in the air, which is just inconsistent throwing arcs. So what you want would be for every pass to sort of look the same. It's so nice to have 5 now. So I can just take all 5 with me to my desk or over to the couch or whatever, and then when I start dropping them, I don't have to start picking them up until I drop 3. Yeah, so it's a little bit tricky. But sometimes it's like, oh, if you mess up the one-handed fountain, you can just switch to the Cascade. It's like, oh, I couldn't have caught that with my right hand, so it's a good thing I had the other hand there. But that's basically where I am right now. The difficulty that I'm working on right now is doing the fountain left-handed, which I have a much harder time with because I'm strongly dominant in the right hand. So trying to do a fountain over here is like as mentally exhausting as it is physical, because I have to really move my arm. Normally when you do things with your hands, you just think about what you want to have happen and your arm just knows what to do. Like, oh, I want to grab that, I'll just grab it. But if I'm using my left hand, it's like I have to aim, It's not as well trained. So I have to really think about making a mess, man. I have to really think about getting that arc to the outside just right. And I never throw things with my left hand prior to this, so prior to learning to juggle. So it's like, this is the arc that I'm trying to get. So then the way that you juggle 4 balls, I was a little disappointed with, you can't do a 4-ball cascade. So you can't do that same two-handed pattern, the 3-ball pattern that I've been doing. It doesn't work with 4 balls. It only works with odd numbers. And I'm not yet totally comfortable with the explanation as to why it only works with odd numbers, but I sort of get the idea. It comes down to it just doesn't work out. You're getting a contradiction, basically, where if you have 4 balls, here I'll show it. This will be instructive. Okay, so if you've got 4 balls, how would you do a 4-ball cascade? Well, every toss, you'd toss from the other hand and you'd go under. So like if this ball goes up, the orange one should go under it. But the question is, how many balls should be in the air? So when I do it with 3, I've pretty much always got 1 ball in each hand, and the other ball is going in between. You know, so it's like, ooh, ooh, you know. So there's always 2 balls in my hands, 1 in each, and then there's other balls in the air. But if I've got 4, I guess I need to have 2 balls in the air. Because any less, and I would just be doing a 3-ball cascade with 4 balls, which is not exactly juggling, because I'd be holding 2 in one hand. But if I try to put 3 balls in the air, I can't always throw from each hand, because you have to have a ball in the hand in order to catch. Because when you catch, you throw just with 4. That's how juggling works. So if I throw from this hand, so I throw the yellow ball into the air, the next thing that has to happen is the left hand has to throw under. So I'm going to throw the red one under. But do I catch the yellow ball when I throw the red one? So in other words, do I do this? Well, I can't. If I do that, this green ball is never going to get out of my hand. Because the next time the right hand throws, I'm going to throw the yellow ball again. So the green ball is stuck over here. So I'm going to end up doing a 3-ball cascade, but I'm just holding another. So it doesn't work. So that means that when the left hand throws, I'm going to assume I throw right-handed first. When the left hand does its first throw, I can't catch the yellow ball. So I have to put this one in the air, that one in the air, but not catch the yellow one yet. So it's like I have to throw from here, throw from there, but because my right hand threw first, my left hand has to catch first. But I can't catch on my first throw, which means basically the left hand would have to throw twice. So if I go like this, I have to throw that one and then throw another and catch the first one, which would be possible if I had enough height under it. But the problem is, it doesn't work out in the long run, because now I've got 2 balls going this way and none going this way. So it's asymmetrical, so that when this hand tries to go, it's just going to end up being a mess. It doesn't work out. It's mostly because your left hand has to throw twice, which you just don't do in juggling. You don't have a hand that throws 2 balls unless you're doing something fancy, like adding another ball to your technique, or you know, something like a trick, basically. If you're trying to impress somebody, like you could say, oh look, you know, I'm going to do this with 2 balls. And then you get to a certain point, and it's like, ooh, and I'm going to do 3, and you add another one or whatever. But you don't normally do that when you're just trying to juggle. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on right now, is the left-handed fountain, which is not exactly easy for me, because I am strongly right-handed. But this is where I am in terms of that, just trying to get a consistent arc. And the hard part is once you throw one badly, you don't have the other hand to help you kind of straighten it back out. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow morning.